Let's go ahead and quickly put in the eyebrow. What level of value would you call that value right there?
7.
Perfect. I wouldn't say 8. I think 8's a little too dark. I would say between 6 and 7. So with my charcoal pencil, I'm going to come in really quickly and just do a light first layer, working with the shape we've already drawn. Okay, coming back over just with certain areas to make sure that I get it all even. Once I feel that I have it dark enough, go ahead with your blending stump and blend it in. Okay, simple enough. I'm just coming in and reworking some of the shape of the eyebrow. Before moving on. Okay. Do I need to wait a little bit or can we move on? I think I need to wait. I think it looks good. I would not go darker.
Does mine look good?
Yes.
I like hair. Hair is fun.
Hair is fun. Yes. Okay, so here's the thing though, is your class is the only one that touches that drawer. So if you cannot find it, I would pull everything out, stick it on that back row, and start sifting through. Because it's got to be in there unless you took it home. Or you didn't put it back. But that's the thing, is your class is the only class that touches that drawer. And I can't even blame this on junior high students anymore because they're not in this room.
I'm starting to like this song.
Okay, looks like we're about ready to move on. We want to repeat what we did up here, down here, but obviously avoid the white of that eye. We'll get into that in a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and start putting in between a 3 and a 2 level right under the eyebrow. And if you'll notice, I'm holding my pencil all the way to the very edge. And the reason why I'm doing that is it allows me to go lighter, so I'm not pressing hard. I don't have the temptation of pressing really hard on my pencil. Once you have that solid layer of between 3 and 2, you'll take your blending stump and just go ahead and blend it out very much like we did up top. Circle motions are key. Roa, do you actually have this at home, or are you just telling me you do?
No, I actually do.
Have you been working on it at home?
Absolutely not.
So here's my thing. If you forget it again, you're going to start over. Because we don't have time, and each one of these is going to be worth a significant portion of your grade. I don't want you to lose out on that. I would recommend just leaving it here. Into the eyeball. Please remember as we continue that we do not lose this part right here. Remember how I said that's one of the most important parts of the eyeball? Okay? If you look really closely in your image, you're going to see there's a few light reflections, but we're mainly focusing on the lines that divide where her eyeball is and where those like little fleshy parts are. So if you look really closely in mine, I have put in indications of where those lines will be, okay? I don't need to shade them because when I come in with my blending stump, especially the one that already has some charcoal on it, it's going to create a very light layer of value for me anyways. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with the shapes that I have already put in there and blend them in. Very simple. Don't lose the integrity of the line, just accent it with the blending stump. Okay. The next part is her eyeball itself, and you'll notice that the black spot in her eye comes more at an angle, so it's like more in the center here. And then what are these little white dots?
The highlight.
Refresh.
Yes, your highlight or your light reflection. So with that being said, okay, we don't want to lose the light reflection. I would advise you to do little circles first, putting them in, and then shade around that, okay? So I'm going to, before I jump in, clean up my eye so it's like really sharp on the edges so I can find those little dots. So I'm just using my eraser and I'm erasing that top area of the eye, okay? And then I'm going to come in and just add my little circles. Okay, I recommend just starting with the overall layer of the eye, which in my opinion is very similar to the eyebrow. So we're looking for about a 6 to a 7 of value. So I'm just going to come around those little eyeballs that I've already put in. Eyeballs, those little light reflections, sorry. And I'm going to shade the whole eye that one color. And I need my pencil to be sharper. Okay. With this terrifying face on the screen. That's not going to help you guys. Let me bend mine again. Okay. So we're looking for that really dark black spot on the eye. It connects to the inner little light reflection, like so. Okay. But before you finish the eye, remember, there are these darker lines that come up and around on the outer edges of your eyeball, okay? So like right on the line of your eye, it's a little bit darker. So I'm going to come in with just little darker lined indications in the outer part of the eye that I will then eventually blend. But she has these really nice lines that pull from the center of her eye out. I like to call those like spider webs in your eyes. Some people like to call them like the inner flower. Okay?
So where are you seeing these lines? I can't see it in
I have it in my reference. Your guys didn't quite pick that up. But I just also know this out of experience from drawing eyes. If you just want to do that solid color, you can. I will also pause this video, and if you want to come up and look at mine before I blend it, you can as well. Do you guys want to do that, or just want to like do this? Okay, come on up. Okay, I'm about done with the eye.
the clay in my thing is breaking.
Does my eye look good?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. I'm going to go in and blend a little bit more around those light reflections, just pulling that outline that I put in out so it's not as abrasive. I'm going to go in with my kneaded eraser, really pointy edge, and just pull out a little bit of the value that got stuck inside that light reflection. And I will wait for you guys to continue.
How many more? No, we're gonna put it on. Grab my side. I was trying to move. You were in the way. I was like pushing you out of the way.
On the far side of her eye, closer to her ear, she has a little bit of that shadow that kind of wraps around her eyelid, right? From the top all the way down to the bottom. So with a circle motion, I'm going to come in very lightly and just add in a little extra value right there that I will eventually blend so it doesn't look so much like a black eye like we are familiar with our first portrait. Ooh, sometimes when I'm drawing eyes, I'm like, it's too realistic and it's grossing me out.
Yeah, I
You will, trust me.
bet.
I just hate when my drawings are like realistic.
And then you should not have taken this class. It's just like your pencil is so close to an eyeball that looks real that it's like, I'm going to poke their eye out. Okay, so I have a little bit of that line right on the outer edge. So I did not put it right on the line of her eyelid. I pushed it further down. But I am going to take on the outside of that value and pull towards her eyelid. Indeed. And then right in the front area, she has lines that come down and across her eye. So while I am blending, I'm going to make sure those lines are a part of it. So in the front of her eye, right here, she has that line that pulls forward. Okay? So I'm taking my values and I'm pulling them backward so that they match. And I don't have to do a harsh line.
It looks like a black eye.
Then you went too dark. So go in with a flat edge of your eraser. So you want to make sure it's like kind of flat. And then you're just going to lift it off. Don't rub, just lift it up. And then you'll just come back in and blend that right back out so it looks nice and clean.
Oh my god.
It's like if you have ever used like silly putty and you put it on a newspaper and you pull it up, it will take the print of the newspaper. That's exactly what this does.
Really?
Yeah, or if you use silly putty and you write something down on a piece
Yeah,
of paper.
silly,
And you can lift that off too.
silly putty was meant to be a dryer thing.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? I think it's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go right back up with the same idea on the top of our eyelid, but we have to make sure that this sharp line doesn't get lost. Okay?
Is this too dark for...
I would lighten it up just a little bit right on this far edge.
this one?
Yes. So we, again, don't want to lose this line that we've put in. So we're going to come back in with a little bit of a heavy pressure with that dark line. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing back here just to make sure we don't lose it. So it's a little darker than I would usually prefer to do. But because of that, we're going to just blend it back out. So we're going to take our stump and pull on that line. So we can just make it, instead of a harsh line, it's now more of a fuzzy line, which is what you want.
You hold this card, you'd be like, you'll never get better at art.
I've never said that in my life.
I know, that's the opposite part.
Oh, I was like, what? I'm about ready to, like, literally have a fight with you.
She's gonna
She
throw
won't tell you
hands.
you'll never improve in art, but she'll fight you.
Yeah.
I was about ready. I'm not even kidding. I was like, where are your fists?
She'll box me.
Let's do this.
Dukes.
Okay, we have a couple more sharp lines we want to make sure that we also add in, and that's right on the interior eyelid. And it's going down to like the point. Okay? And then a little tiny V between the eye and her tear duct. We're going to do the same thing. Blend it out really nicely. So instead of a harsh line, now we have more of a fuzzy line.
She makes all kinds of silly
The
putty.
eye is
Like
scary.
serious putty.
Why is it? Because it looks real?
Angry
Yeah.
putty.
Yes! That's what you want!
Foolish putty. Foolish.
Okay, we're almost about ready to be done. But I want you to notice something right here. If I can, I will try to zoom in as much as I can and then refocus. But something very important you need to understand about eyelids. Eyelids are 3D, okay? They are thick. They're thicker than we think. So right on the inside of her eye, she has this line right here. Do you see I just drew it in? Okay? And the same part of that line comes back up. Do you see that? So on our drawing, we want to make sure that we don't leave that line out, because that is really what's going to create that very lifelike eyeball. So I have put in that like little V shape on my side. Okay? I'm going to take and pull that up. But on the bottom, it's very much a light line, right? So I'm actually going to come in with my kneaded eraser and pull that information out so I don't lose that line. And on the far side, I'm going to bring in a line for where her eyelashes will eventually go. And I know you're probably thinking that is the teeniest, tiniest detail. Why does it matter? It matters because that's going to make your drawing look better than someone else who doesn't understand how to draw the face. It's the tiny details, the little shading that really make your piece stand out.
Does this look right?
Yes.
What about mine?
Yes. Okay.
Go home and tell my mom I almost got a teacher to box me today.
If you told your mom it was me, she would laugh her total butt off. She would be like, no way, Mrs. Carter would never.
Miss Carter said she wanted to box me because I said evil Miss Carter wouldn't like me.
That's fair. I think that's fair. Okay, eyelashes. But before we jump into eyelashes, let's pop in just a little bit of value right here on this eye. Okay, remember how I said eyes are not white, right? They're not white. They're not like number 1. They're more of a number 2. But if you look at her eye, the shading starts right at those highlights. So with my stump, with charcoal still on it, right at that highlight, I'm actually going to use the leftovers to bring in value on her eye. And if I feel like I've gone too dark, I can always take my eraser and pull some of that value. Why do I keep saying volume? Value back out.
What is sound?
Science teacher?
There you go.
Do you not know?
What?
Like, what is sound in drawing? Like, they say, like, for colors, there is sound.
I think that is absolutely interpretational. Like, it's completely a personal experience.
How do you feel about the theory that there's no proof that we all see the same colors?
I believe that theory. I've wondered that.
Sometimes I just think about how deaf people, when they gain their hearing, they say that, like, they thought the sun would make sound.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard that. Okay, eyelashes! Are you ready for eyelashes?
Oh, yeah, sun does make sense.
If your pencil is not very... So, hopefully all of your pencils have a sharpness very similar to this. Okay?
What?
Really, really sharp. Yes? Okay. The line of this eyelash does not sit right against her eye. Do you see that? So, on our paper, I'm going to really quickly just draw a line where I want her eyelashes to go. That will line up eventually over here to her eye line, but it does not back here, okay? Which also means I need to adjust the line behind it because we lost it a little bit. That's okay.
I'm so confused now.
Okay, let's look real quick. Do you see the separation? Eyelashes, yes, are not, okay, they don't sit like this. You don't just go, right? No, that makes you feel like their whole eyeball is like wide open. So, you want to go with the curve of the eye, number one. And number two, right in here, eyelashes can change direction. So, I'm going to do it with my pencil because I don't want to ruin my nice sharp point. Okay? Oh, why is that so washed out?
Oh yeah.
Hang on. Okay, that's a little better. Not nearly as washed out. So, regular eyelashes will go with the grain of the eyeball, yes? Okay? However, they can change direction. So you'll have some that will move the opposite direction when you get closer to the eyeball. Okay? This is all about where you want your eyelashes to go because eyelashes are not perfect. They're all over the place, right? So do your best to follow your reference. I'm going to start where I see some that are maybe like more thick.
Can't really see it.
She looks so nice.
So I'm going to put my first one right about here. Okay? And then I'm going to put another few right here. I'm going to put a few back here because I know which direction these guys are going. Okay? Then as I start to move forward, I have to figure out how I'm going to blend them so they look more natural. And you're going to have long ones, short ones. We're going to have thick ones, thin ones. And then right about here is when I'm changing my direction. Okay. Now the bottom eyelashes are pretty much all one particular direction. So those ones you can basically determine, okay, we're all going one way, which is fine.
We're all going one way.
Yeah. They're all on the same line, they're buddies.
Imagine having friends on the same page as you.
Can't relate.
Wow, that's smarter. I like that.
Is that sarcasm?
No, like,
Williams, I never know with you. I'm always like,
Just genuinely trying to be nice for once.
yeah, for real. I was
Just
like,
got like chill vibes.
I was trying to compliment your dress.
well, thank you very much.
Honestly, I feel like it would be very satisfying to watch a time lapse of Miss Carter drawing.
That's so true. Yeah.
Maybe I'll turn one of these. With your pencil, do you see the difference between this space right here and like right up here?
It's darker.
It's darker, okay? We already have a lot of the base layer in, so we need to come back, and I would start right on that eyelid, bring it down, and then start to spread out a little bit. Don't go very heavy though, like we've talked about. Okay? Stop when you've hit about that level, and then with your pencil, or not your pencil, your stump, again, blend it out. Hello.
Can I use your paper cutter?
Yeah. You might have to use it on a table though, because we're spread out. So we're blending, and notice mine has already gone too dark. So what am I going to do?
Use your eraser.
Yes.
It's only three.
So, do we rub or do we pull?
Pull.
Good job.
Hey, it is the muted eraser.
See, look at that. I did one pull and it's perfect. I don't even need to touch it anymore.
Should have heard the jokes that
what's
Shadow was
his
reading.
name?
He's reading Eckford's jokes. They're so bad.
Okay, we have 5 more minutes, so we're going to move down the nose. Yes.
Only 5?
Yeah, we have 5 minutes left till I have to clean up.
Story of my life, painting Eyebrow too fast.
I wish I could fix that, but I can't.
You wouldn't get it.
Okay, down below you will see also right here. So right now we are building the side of that nose, okay? Do not put a harsh line in. We are only shading right now, okay?
Is it good, Miss Carter?
Yes. So right here is when we're going to run into a slight bump, and then it's going to come down her face, okay? So on the outside of that, we're going to keep the integrity of that little bump on her nose, and then we're going to just slowly bring in value down her face. So we're talking about, if you look right here on the reference, we have this curve, then this nice bump right here, and then it pulls down. Don't do it with a harsh line, but go in with your values and help make sure that all gets in. With a regular pencil eraser, I'm coming in and just pulling that value out because I did too much too soon. I'm going to come back over.
Is that the opposite of too little too late?
Sure.
Miss Carter, you
Oh, thank God.
Guys, have you not been watching? I make mistakes all the time. And when you're just chitter-chatting and working, I readjust as I go.
they're very minimalistic mistakes.
Like if you hadn't noticed, the eyebrow was too short, so I had to pull it out, and then I also needed to recurve this.
That?
See? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Bump? Mm-hmm. The bump's right there. It's just
She's got a bump it. Oh yeah, she does
She
have
just-
a bump in her nose.
that looks like a really big bump.
I'm not done.
It's nose cancer.
Rude!
What?
I'm just teasing.
Is that
No, on the actual picture.
Turns out
Because
he's
I
right.
have it I have the line here sketched out for the shadow a little bit.
Oh.
And it's a big old, it just looks like a big old email on my reference.
Okay. If you have your values in and you are ready to blend it, you are welcome to do so now.
My bump is just settled.
I want to be a leading scientist in those.
Bro, you looking at noses all day? Yes.
Okay, a lot of this is still a little too dark for me, so I'm going to come in, pull that value out. And then before I move on, I'm going to put just a really small layer of value on the inside of her nose so that I can help blend as I go.
Boy.
We've known.
Oh no, I heard you.
It'll be worse.
I heard that. Did you?
But he's just trying to be a cancer scientist.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
I want to be.
About what kind of cancer he wants to be in.
What? He wants to solve, he just wants to solve some problems. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Saving innocent life.
Solving problems while he has his own problems. Okay.
I don't have my own problems.
That's a
what I
lie.
do.
I have problems. Everybody's got problems.
I am my own problem.
So then you have a problem.
That's so true. That's so true.
Someone told me I was perfect and I just started laughing so hard I started crying. It was funny.
He
Who
was
told
funny.
you you were perfect?
Has
Jack?
existential
I think
that's
crisis.
easy.
It was funny.
Sarah?
No.
Heber?
Hebrew would say nothing close to that.
Yeah.
Did not. Heber would say that. You trust me.
Well,
Like
he
a-
brought
I
some
know.
crush on you for like.
I
He
know.
just kept looking at me. He's like, why are you laughing at that?
What you do?
Funny.
Heber has a crush on her now.
Does he?
No one needs to know that.
What?
So they're talking about how he had a crush on me.
I gotta talk to Hebrew about his taste.
That was so disrespectful.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
No, I wasn't.
I'm just like,
I got you, man. You go, ayo.
Miss Carter, we really don't know what's
Holy cow, that was rough.
Your facial expressions are like Jim Carrey. They're awesome.
I get that a lot.
How did you like that one, Mark?
I know.
Like, it's worth making a try to how be surprised because of your face.
What is
It's not.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
how does he know
Oh, come on.
Oh,
All guys have a crush on you.
She